Twin blades are blades, except there are two of them, twin blades even. You can expect some hard-hitting analysis like that in today's video as we go through every twin blade in Elden Ring, rank them from worst to best. Let's go. Let me know what weapon you would like me to do next, and let's talk about twin blades as a whole. They're quite a unique weapon and can either be single-handed or two-handed or even dual-wielded. Now, they are really unique in the way that they have like quick successive attacks because of the dual sides, that you can really get a lot of status effect builds off quickly with these, or even something of concessive attacks like a Rotten Wind Insignia focused build. When you do only have one of these in like a single twin blade setup, I wouldn't be using it in one hand with any kind of spell blade or shield option, because it's essentially then just acting like a sword, and you may as well be just using a sword. So you really, in that scenario, would want to be two-handing it to get that unique move set off where you've got the two different sides of the twin blade to follow up and deal an excessive amount of damage, or even power stancing with two twin blades, because the jump attack with the twin blades will hit 4 times and it's extremely strong at getting status effects off very quickly, or even just leaning into the fact that you are hitting 4 times on a jump attack. You could buff your jump attack damage significantly and really lean into that aspect of the different twin blades. Now, there are 6 twin blades, so we're going to go through all of them here, and you can kind of pick which ones you like the best. We will start with the Gargoyle's Black Blades. This twin blade does physical and holy damage, and it scales with strength, dex, and faith, though it does scale primarily with strength, faith secondarily, and then dex really not at all. But you do need some of each 3 of those categories in order to actually wield this bad boy. Now, it does that physical and holy damage. It has the highest attack rating of all of the twin blades, but it does have poor faith scaling in general, which makes it hard to make some sort of faith build out of it, though you have to have that faith requirement to really make something with this build. The Ash of War spinning slash can't be changed, and it's also not great on this weapon because it doesn't really use the whole aspect, and what makes special about the twin blades is the 2 different sides, right? Spinning slash just really spins you around, kind of looks like you're getting lots of value out of it, but other than the stagger it does, there's not a huge amount of value you get out of this, as it's just like a standard Ash of War. So you can't really make anything really good with this build, and you'd probably be two-handing them because of the strength focus of the twin blade. But I mean, you could rock both of the Gargoyle twin blades and just make some like super cool badass looking build out of it, but it's not really getting the most bang for your buck in terms of all of the different twin blades that you can get. So I would be looking in other options like the twin blade itself. Now, this only requires strength and dex in order to use. It does come with spinning slash by default, just like the Gargoyle's Black Blades. However, you can change this. Now, the twin blade has a default moveset. It's also the second lightest of the twin blades, and it has the lowest damage compared to all of the different twin blades. But I guess the trade-off to that is you can get the twin blade very quickly at like the start of the game in the Dragonboat Ruins. So you know, if you're looking to make some kind of twin blade build, you can get this right at the start and start really developing some kind of build out of this. It does primarily scale with dexterity, so you will want to focus on that potentially in some sort of dual wielding setup. Say if you're using one of the other twin blades, this is an option that you could grab to put into your offhand if you're making some sort of a status build out of this. Put in like blood or poison or frozen frostbite, something on there you could do with this. But it's definitely not a twin blade that I would be two-handing to make some sort of strength build out of, because you can change the Ash of War. You could put the heavy variant on it and make a strength build out of it. There's just better options on this list that scale better with strength initially, so you get better scaling when you do put the heavy variation on this kind of a weapon. And one of those variations is the Twinned Knight Sword. So this is another strength and dex scaling weapon. It is essentially very similar to the twin blade itself, except it comes much later in the game, and it's like marginally better in most categories. So it has the default moveset. It's the second heaviest of the twin blades. It has the longest reach of all of the twin blades, and it's in like the middle of the pack compared to, you know, damage of some of the more unique twin blades, but it's definitely more damage than the twin blade itself. It also has much better strength scaling when you do level it out, whereas the twin blade focuses on dex, this focuses more on strength. So like a two-handed build works better with the Twinned Knight Swords compared to the twin blade, though again, because you can change the Ash of War from spinning slash that it comes with, you can put something on there if you wanted to say focus on dex, or even lean even further into strength, or even some sort of quality setup if you wanted to wield, you know, a Twinned Knight Sword and a twin blade together, something like that you could absolutely do. It's a reoccurring theme with the Twinblades that because you can change the Ash of War into something else, you can really find a lot of value into some sort of a status build, or even just putting a better Ash of War on the weapon, like the Black Flame Tornado, or even Ice Spear, something that's a little different and unique that will get you a lot of more value than just a standard spinning slash. You can really find success with a lot of the Twinblades, but it's just those marginal differences with some of these, especially these in the middle of the pack Twinblades, where it's just slightly better in terms of its damage output or slightly better in terms of its scaling. There's something in there, or reach, whatever it may be, but it's very marginal differences when we're talking about these ones in the middle section here. Just like the Gargoyle's Twinblade. Now this is another strength and dex scaling Twinblade with the default moveset. This is the heaviest of the Twinblades with the highest attack rating of all of the Twinblades. Now it has the shortest reach, which is its major trade-off, is that it's got that high attack rating, but it does have the shortest reach. So best overall kind of general damage you can get out of it. Great for a two-handed build, similar to like the Twinned Night Sword. You can two-hand this, but it loses a bit of that reach that the Twinned Night Sword has, whereas this one just has that more damage potential, and you can change the Ash of War on it. I personally like this one a little bit better. If you're just talking about like straight raw damage numbers, you get more out of this Twinblade than the Twinned Night Sword, but there's a lot of, there's very marginal differences between these, as I said. So realistically, you'd be fine with either of these. It just depends on what you're looking for. Maybe you're looking for some sort of, long reach build, or something in PvP where you're trying to catch enemies. The Twin Night Sword definitely wins out in that regard, but realistically, you'd see success with both of these. Godskin Peeler is next. Now this is quite a unique Twinblade. It does have a unique R2 effect on it that uses the pointy other end that it does have. It's the second heaviest of the Twinblades. It scales primarily with dexterity, so perfect to make some sort of a dual wield dexterity focused build. Doesn't have great strength scaling, and you can change the Ash of War on this bad boy again, so you could turn it into something else that you wanted to. However, what's really special about this weapon is it comes with Black Flame Tornado just by default, which is a fantastic Ash of War to use, but it's also perfect for combining with some other weapon because of its really solid damage overall and scaling. It's a really solid complement with one of the other Twinblades as its like secondary option. Though you could use this as your primary and two-hand it, turn it into some sort of strength-focused Twinblade, but I probably wouldn't do that because there's better options for that. It's more of a Twinblade focused on dual wielding, or even wielding in like one hand with something in the other hand, but as we talked about earlier, you're not really going to have any kind of shield or spell-focused builds with any of these Twinblades, as there isn't where their strengths lie. So the Godskin Peeler is very strong, and it's absolutely a solid option because of its Black Flame Tornado it comes with, and its great scaling that you can use, as well as the unique R2 if you wanted to test out using different attack combos compared to the other Twinblades that you do have. And the best Twinblade is Elanora's Poleblade. This is an extremely unique weapon that's probably one of the best weapons in the game, more or less. It kind of flies under the radar a lot. It doesn't get talked about as much as, the Rivers of Blood, but it does have a very similar kind of setup to the Rivers of Blood. So Elanora's Poleblade does physical and fire damage, which is one of its unique aspects. It scales primarily with Dex and Arcane, though leaning a little bit more into Arcane than Dex, but you will need it to have at least 19 Arcane in order to even use this weapon. It's got that blood loss build up natively in it, plus the fire and physical damage, so plenty of value you're getting just out of the weapon on its own. Plus it has Blood Blade Dance, which is very similar to like Rivers of Blood in terms of how, it's like raw potential of just like leaping in the air and like with a massive flurry of attacks, but it does really good damage that you can combine with something like a Flame Grant Me Strength into some sort of minor faith build, but really just focusing on the Flame Grant Me Strength aspect of that, just for the damage bonuses you get to physical and fire damage because of the synergy you get with this kind of a setup. Now, I did make a build with this weapon a little while ago called Pole Dancer that uses a Twinblade and a Poleblade. You could combine this with two Twinblades and make some sort of a status build because of the blood loss build up, or just leaning into that blood dance that you do get from the Poleblade. It's absolutely a fantastic weapon. It's just the best Twinblade overall. It's got great attack rating, a brutal Ash of War. It's the lightest of the Twinblades. It does have a unique R2 when charged, which I didn't mention before. Plenty of value with Elanora's Poleblade and some great builds that can come out of this, and it's not as broken as Rivers of Blood, especially now, but it's definitely a fantastic weapon to use. Let me know in the comments which your favorite Twinblade is. Thank you for watching this video till the end. Thank you to our members for supporting the channel. My name is NorZZa, and I hope you have a great day.